guys, I would like to chit-chat a little bit about last year and New Year's resolutions on my piano practice. So what went well, what didn't go so well at all, and where would I like to be in 1 year. It's the second year that I have a teacher. I've been playing for 4.5 years now. And again, I realized that having a teacher is such a huge progress in itself. For the first half year of learning piano, I've done quite well on my own. But after that, a teacher would have helped to progress faster. I didn't have the time by then. I didn't spend so many days at home. I was touring around with my work, so it wasn't possible for me to get a teacher. So I don't regret anything. But for anybody who's starting to play piano and think they can do it on their own, yes, you can, but you lose time. So if you really want to commit to learn piano, I would highly recommend to get a teacher. You do not have to have lessons once a week, but probably every 2 weeks is really helpful. Since I have a teacher, I'm so much more motivated. I know what to practice, at what level I am. I can ask my questions, and I learn things I wouldn't even have known that I have to think about that. Especially when it comes to tone production. So what I thought before was like, okay, you have to hit the right note with the right finger in the right timing, and that is playing piano. But this is just 10% of playing piano. So this is the start. This is what my teacher doesn't tell me, because I can do it on my own. And then I come with the right finger in the right timing, on the right key. And then we start working on the music and on interpretation and on how to get there with more ease, with more relaxation, not to hurt myself, to have a lighter touch, to get faster, to get more secure, whatever. So this is so helpful. There's a lot of teachers out there where you can make an appointment whenever you have time. So you do not have to commit to a regular every second Tuesday a month or something like that, but you can just tell them, okay, I have time next week, do you have time as well? Usually I went to my piano teacher twice a month, and I noticed that over the past weeks I had the urge to go there sometimes once a week, because I felt like, okay, we're working something and I need the feedback, the instant feedback, so that I do not practice something wrong. And this again gave me more motivation. So the more I go to my teacher, the more I practice. This is so weird. And it's great because, of course, you see progress. Talking about progress, I think this is something we all encounter. And I am so happy that I'm doing my practice videos. Honest practice videos. So of course I show off my best version, which is recording 360 out. The only one ever that went flawlessly or whatever. But I write this underneath. And this is so helpful, not only when it comes to talking to other people who learn to play piano, to be honest with them, and not giving them the impression that you can do perfectly and you can show off and they are just stupid because they practice and you don't have to practice, which is not true. We all practice, and we all practice a lot, but the internet gives us the impression that there is only little prodigies outside there, and the others probably don't dare to post anything. And I'm so happy that I have memberships like with Pianote, or in certain forums, on Facebook, for example, where we are in exchange and you see what other people practice and how long it takes them to improve their pieces. It helps you feel less stupid, less untalented, and to get a little bit more idea of what piano practice really is and how difficult it is to learn piano as an adult especially. I will definitely continue to exchange, to be in exchange with other people who practice piano, because it is so valuable. And making these videos, I noticed, is so important, especially to make honest videos. It's so important to compare with yourself. So you do not have to make them public. Just keep them, store them on your hard drive, or post them on YouTube, but unlist it or whatever. It is so important because, we practice for weeks or even months, and it's still not perfect, and we feel like we're not improving at all. But what you don't realize is that now we're making the same mistakes probably over and over again, but we're making them at a much higher tempo. And it still feels so slow. But when you watch back on your practice day 5, probably, you see how slow it was then, and how much your tempo has improved, or how much your articulation has improved. So probably you're still having the same glitches, but there's so many other things that really have improved, and we don't see that. And by watching your videos back, you see where you started and where you are now. Also, which pieces you probably played. So when I think back, like in my second year, I feel like, well, I could play for Elise. And then I watch my videos back, and yes, I could play the right notes of for Elise. Sometimes. Not 100%, and it's slow, and it is without soul. It's the best I could do by then, but it is not real music. My wrists are sturdy, and my technique is so much better now. So probably now I haven't practiced for Elise, so I cannot play it anymore. But if I practiced it, I could play it way better than back in these days. So this is also a motivation to see that in 1 year I have improved a lot, although many pieces I have practiced are forgotten again. This brings me to repertoire. This is one of my New Year's resolutions. I definitely should start to build a repertoire, and not only to build the repertoire, but to practice it and to keep it. Because over the past 2 years, I thought there were so many pieces I really loved, and they felt easy, and I could play them memorized. And I definitely said, oh, wow, I want to keep it in the repertoire. And 2 or 3 months later, they were completely forgotten, and I didn't even know the starting note anymore. This is really frustrating, especially when it comes to pieces that you've practiced for months, because it feels like all the work you put in there is just gone. It's for nothing. And I also listened to a YouTube video by a piano teacher who said that it is realistic to have a piano repertoire of 2 minutes per year that you've been learning piano, which is a nice number, because to me it feels like I cannot play anything. But I've been playing for 4.5 years now, so let's say 5 years. So this makes 10 minutes of piano repertoire, and this is not too much. So to me, it feels like, oh, I want to have a repertoire of 20 pieces. No, I don't have to. Probably let's start easy with 5 pieces, and pick 5 nice pieces that are easy to remember, that are easy to memorize, that I can play on any public piano in the world, even at night, even without any concentration. I can just sit there and play it, and everybody thinks I can play piano. So this is one of my resolutions. Second resolution definitely is to improve my sight reading. Oh my god, I'm so bad. I bought these books here on eBay, quite cheap. Improve your sight reading. And they are so boring, but they are graded. So this gives me an idea of where I should be. This is the grade. So if you are a grade 2 piano player, this is the grade 2 sight reading that you should be able to do, which is way easier than your repertoire. So it looks like this, and this is boring. This is not music, it's just 4 bars, and I even messed those up. So I started to practice again, because at the beginning of the year I did like 4 months of piano sight reading practice, And I really improved. And then I stopped it and only committed to the 40 pieces challenge and thought this would be enough. And it wasn't. So I'm back to sight reading daily now. Sight read these books, sight read a grade 1 exam piece a day, and also do the Piano Marvel Sasser assignment sight reading blah blah test daily, and practice scales, arpeggios, cadences with sheet music, with the score. So not only practice the scale, but have my eyes on the score so that I know how the scale feels and how it looks like, because this is my problem. I can play the scale, but I don't know what it looks like. So when it comes to sight reading, I cannot interpret it really. And my Sasser score has improved by then. So I've been doing this for 1 month now. And within this month, again, my sight reading score has improved, and it hasn't improved for over 5 or 6 months. When I was only doing the 40 pieces challenge. I think this is really a good thing to do, because the ability to read notes quickly, to read the score quickly, not even sight read, but to interpret everything on there, and to be able to have my eyes on the score and not on the keys is what limits me in my progress when it comes to repertoire practice. So I have to work on that next year a lot more. And knowing my scales and my arpeggios and my cadences. And this is something I thought I would never say, because I thought, why should I practice scales? I practice what's in my pieces. So there's no piece in the world that uses the full scale in the exact fingering the scale is practiced. So what's that for? Probably I should do that, especially when it comes to broken chords and the cadence chords. This is so important, to know your diatonic chords in your scales. Not the scale by itself in the right fingering, but everything that is connected. Talking about that, I realized that for me it is so helpful and so important to practice the cadences and the diatonic chords, not only by knowing them and practicing through, but by having the brain so active that I realize which note, for example, stays the same when you switch from your tonic chord to your 4 chord, subdominant chord. There is one note that they share in common. Which one is it? On which degree is it? The one note from the tonic chord is the 5 note from the subdominant chord, if I'm not talking bullshit. And the 5th degree note from the tonic chord is the root from the dominant chord. To have that clearly in mind is so helpful, especially when it comes to play the cadence chords, so 1 4 1 5 5 7 1, something like that. When it comes to the transitions in different inversions. So when you don't start your 1 chord on the root position, for example, but in the second inversion, it is so helpful to know where your notes are. Which one is the first, the root note, the 1, which one is the 3rd, which one is the 5th, and which one is which note in the next chord. This gives you such a great overview, and this is helpful, but this takes time, so this is the reason why I'm sticking to my chord practice and scale practice for more than a week with each key. Probably even 2 weeks. Doing the arpeggios properly. I do everything hand separate so that I concentrate on really doing the exercises right and to think about what is happening there also in theory terms. So on which scale degree am I? Which are the diatonic chords? To harmonize the scale, for example. Like to play on the 2nd scale degree, play a dominant chord, for example. For harmonization. Such things are really helpful, and they also help with improvisation, I think. Yeah, so this is what I want to do next year, a lot more. And I will definitely stick to the 40 pieces challenge. This was so helpful. It didn't help improve my sight reading practice, but it improved my ability to interpret music of all styles and genres. I picked music from almost everywhere. I think I didn't do so many classical pieces, but a lot of Baroque music, romantic music, modern music. I was so astonished how well I could work on my own when it comes to interpretation of music, how much I can improve the piece without having my teacher sit next to me and tell me what to do. This really feels good. And also there, to record my practice progress and to watch it back really is great help. So I cannot recommend it enough. The second challenge I did was the 100 times challenge. So practice one piece 100 times, played 100 times fully through with mentally at 100%. And I will definitely continue with that as well, because it helps so much to dive deeper into musical interpretation, into these tiny little things that you can improve to make it more musical, to make it more beautiful, way beyond right finger, right time on the right key. And then last year I did some compositions, and this is such an awesome experience. I also can only recommend that. Before that, I thought, well, composing is something for nerds and for people who are very talented and have a natural gift. And then I started to just apply music theory I had learned and try to do something on my own with it. So I started by just have a chord progression from 1-5-1 and play a melody above and improvise that and work with arpeggio patterns probably. And then I read about secondary dominants. So I added a secondary dominant and played around with this. And it is so helpful to understand music theory better when you do it on your own. And when you see what is working and what not, because you can just practice, and if it doesn't sound well, you try something else. You just move the notes around on your computer until they fit. And then you have a look back and try to interpret what you've done. Probably you don't know what you've done, so you have a look at it and interpret what chords are written here now and why do they work. And so you learn. And I am so proud because so many nice pieces evolved. Suddenly they were there. And they were not in my head before. So I thought people who are composing, they have everything in their head and they just write it down. And probably they don't, I don't know. It is something that can make you so proud when you just start and you don't know what you're doing and you just follow the rules of music theory that you've learned so far, whatever level you are. Just follow the things you have learned. And suddenly you have something created out of nothing, and it is your creation. It's fantastic. And I'll definitely want to continue with that. Don't feel intimidated, just give it a try. It just gives you such a good feeling. So I think that's most important things. So I definitely want to work on my sight reading more so that it doesn't limit my lesson progress, my technical progress. Understand music theory better, compose something, and yeah, just stick to my practicing. Get a little more deeper understanding and security and scales and arpeggios and the key signatures. Not be so harsh to myself, but this is really difficult to learn. Compare my playing more to myself and not to other people. Play music that I love and build a repertoire. That's it. So tell me, what are you improving? What are you doing? What are your New Year's resolutions? What are your insights? What have you learned in the past year? What worked well for you and what was not a good decision? Let's share our thoughts and ideas and things we've learned, and be a little honest with how difficult piano playing or learning really is. I wish you a happy start, happy new year, in 2024 already. Ooh, time is flying. Happy practicing.